welcome back to Minnie in the Mountains. Today we are going to be adding to our mini bag collection from our favorite mini bag designer, Carolina Little Stitches. I present to you the Dainty Duffle. Right? This bag is so adorable. There are so many options to it, but I will preface this with this is not a super easy beginner bag. The only reason is because we are dealing with these curves and the zipper is sewn in to the curve. I will give you tips and tricks on how to do that. It can be done. I would rate this definitely adventurous beginner. You need to have some practice with curves. So there are 3 styles to this bag. This is the first with the top panel and the accent panel, and then the straps. You can choose to make your straps, or I just use this 1/2-inch webbing, also from Carolina Little Stitches. Style number 2, which is the same deal, top panel, bottom panel, but the straps go all the way down. Still super cute. And then there's also style number 3, which is a full panel, straps coming all the way down, connecting at the bottom. It's gorgeous. All of them on the inside are just plain wrapped around. I know you can barely see in there. You'll see it in the video though. And the sides are bound. I don't know if you can see it. I used a coordinating color. But these sides are bound on all of them. There are also different options for your sides. You can either have a plain side, like I did on this one, nothing on the sides, just plain, or you can add little baby D rings, which I love. And I also added a little charm from Thunderbird Handcrafted, because you could totally add a strap to that, but come on, add some bling. Or on the sides you could do a traditional like D-ring tab. Mine are not perfect. But so many options. I love adding the little bling, and this purse chain is actually a chain extender from SiahSwag, and I think it just dresses it up. It's so cute. I'm going to show you each version of this bag. So on the bottom there will be timestamps. You can just scroll to the one that you want to do if you want to do style 1, 2, or 3. I show you how to construct the full main panel for each style, and then I continue on because they're constructed in the same way no matter what style you're planning on doing. And I also do show you how to do the baby D's or how to do the traditional D-ring. Again, you can leave them off. It's totally up to you because it's your bag. And it's so cute. These are going to be so good for markets, lower price point. It's a scrap buster. And how cute would this be for like a little girl who's just getting into purses, and you want to make her this with like a tiny little strap, and she can put like little plushies in there or something. It's so cute. I used 1 full bobbin, not even, for all 3. So it's definitely very mindful of your bobbin. Again, scrap buster, minimal hardware. You just need zipper tape and a zipper pull, and then either some webbing or make your own. A big thank you to Kayla from Carolina Little Stitches for allowing me to film this video. And at the release of this video, it is release day for the pattern, so happy launch day. All right, braid your scrap bin, cut everything out, and then meet me at the machine. Okay, so starting with style 1, you're gonna have 2 of the top pieces, 1 bottom accent piece, and then 2 pieces for your strap. I'm choosing to use this webbing from Carolina Little Stitches. You could also make your strap, which there are pattern pieces in the pattern. But let's start with this. We're gonna need put this to the side for just a second and take your 2 strips for your strap and throw some double stick tape on there about 2 inches up. We don't want it like super high, and keep them in the middle so that our stitching doesn't hit it. Doesn't have to be perfect in 2 inches. I'm not 100% sure, but that's about what I go with. All right, and I'll take one of your front panels, and we are going to, I also marked the centers of all the pieces. Okay, measure in 1 3/8 of an inch. Remove the backing on one of your straps on the ends and just lay that strap right against the ruler. Now flip your piece and do the same to the other side. 1 3/8. Remove the tape and make sure that your strap is not twisted, and press it down. So now that's what it's going to look like. We're going to repeat that for the other panel and the other strap. All right, once you have your straps in place like so, take one, and from this top edge where the straps loop around, measure down 3/4 of an inch. And with a removable pen, I'm using air erasing pen here, mark a line. That's going to be our stitch line. Do that for both. Okay, now we're going to go over to the sewing machine, and we're going to start at the bottom. And we're going to go up, across that line, back down. I like to back stitch at the beginning and the end here, and we're going to do that for all 4 of our strap pieces. All right, we have those all stitched down nice and neat. We're going to put those to the side for just a second and grab that bottom accent piece. Make sure that you marked the centers on the correct side. This is not a square. It's not a square. These should match up when placed together. If you put it this way, you're going to see it's slightly short on the one side. So just make sure you have you have it oriented the correct way. Now on the pieces where you marked your centers, I like to run a strip of 1/8 inch wide double stick tape and remove that tape or the backing, and take one of your top pieces. You should have the center marked on the bottom and the top. You're going to take it right sides together, match up the centers, and stick it down. You could also baste here if you're not wanting to use double stick tape. Okay. And then we're going to stitch down this edge at 1/4 of an inch, back stitch at the beginning and the end. All right. Once we have that stitched, we're going to flip this up and press that seam towards the bottom panel. Should have mentioned you could stick a little tag underneath that strap before you stitch it down. And if you're going to put a name, your logo or anything, your nameplate, I would put it right below here once we stitch it down. But you can put it wherever. I'm not even going to bother putting them on because I'm all out. So once we have it pressed, the seam pressed towards the bottom panel, we're going to top stitch along that bottom panel at 1/8 of an inch. And I do like to back stitch at the beginning and the end, and I'll use a 5 stitch length. Okay, we have that all top stitched. Now we're going to flip our piece like so, and just repeat that and remove the tape. And take our other top piece, right side together, and match up those center points. Don't mind the bird's nest of thread that I got there. And again, stitch down this side at 1/4 of an inch, back stitch at the beginning and the end. And just as before, flip that up and push the seam towards the bottom panel. And then top stitch 1/8 of an inch way at your top stitch length. And I do like to back stitch at the beginning and the end. All right, that's our whole exterior put together, minus the sides, of course. Now I'm going to take my interfacing, and on the back side of this, I'm going to plop it down. I am using foam in the pattern. I believe she calls for fusible fleece. The first two that I made, I didn't use any interfacing, and they turned out great. They just will be more squishy, but we'll see how the foam works out. So now that it's all constructed, I'm gonna go ahead and fuse this on, and then we can move on to style 2. All right, style 2. We still have the top piece and the bottom accent piece, but we're gonna have the straps that go all the way down to the bottom accent piece. So it's gonna be constructed a little bit differently. The cut length for the new strap for this style and style number 3 is in the pattern. So I'm gonna do the same like before. We're not going to attach our straps just yet. I'm gonna lay some double stick tape down on my accent panel. Doesn't have to be the accent panel, it could be the top as well, or you could just baste, or just sew. Okay, now I'm going to remove the backing and take the topper piece, right sides together, matching up those center marks that you should have made, and align that edge. Do that for the other one as well. We're going to take this to the machine and stitch down both these sides at 1/4 of an inch. Once again, once you have those stitched, go ahead and flip these so that your seam allowance goes underneath the bottom panel. The bottom one is the smaller of the two. And we're going to top stitch 1/8 of an inch way at your top stitch length. Do that for both. Once they are put together and top stitched, we're going to add the straps. So work with one, and same as before, we need to add a little strip of 1/4 inch wide double stick tape. We're gonna go up higher on this one, 4 or so inches. Once we have the tape on both sides of the ends of our straps, again, measure in 1 3/8 of an inch. Take the backing off, and we're gonna bring that tape or that strap all the way to the bottom of our panel, if I can keep it straight. Okay, like so. And then flip her around and do the same thing. Make sure that your strap is not twisted and have her go all the way to that bottom of the panel. All right. Now go ahead and do the same thing for your second panel. When you have both of your straps laid down with double stick tape, we are going to, from the top of that top panel, measure down 3/8 of an inch, or sorry, 3/4 of an inch, and using a removable marking pen like an erasing marker, just draw a line. That's going to be our stitch line. Do that for both of your panels. Now starting from the bottom, we are going to sew up onto the strap across our stitch line and back down 1/8 of an inch away. And I do like to back stitch at the beginning and the end. Do that for all the straps. All right, we have the straps top stitched down. Now we're going to take both of them and lay them right sides together. Match up our centers and clip along the edge here, making sure that those sides match up as well. Now we're going to stitch down this edge, the bottom edge, with a 1/4 inch seam allowance, back stitch at the beginning and the end. So now we have that stitched. What I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna put some double stick tape on both ends of that seam. I'm not gonna stitch down both of them. It's too narrow of a seam, but I do want it to be butterflied open. So some double stick tape should help. It's gonna be harder to press it away where those straps meet, but just do your best. So I'm just gonna go nice and slow down here. For both sides. All right. Once we have it looking something like this, so cute. Now we can apply our interfacing. Again, it's out of the seam and I am using foam. So we're gonna see how it goes. But I'm gonna go ahead and fuse that down and then we can move on to style 3. Style number 3, we just have 2 main panels in our 2 strap pieces. I'm using again that webbing from Carolina Little Stitches. On each of our webbing pieces, towards the ends, we're going to add some 1/4 inch wide double stick tape. I'm going about 4 inches or so up. All right, we have the tape on the ends of our straps. Make sure that you have the centers marked on your panels. You're going to be marking the shorter edges. This is not a square, again. So make sure that you mark the center marks on the short ends. Let's start with one panel and 1 strap. On the longer edge, measure in 1 3/8 of an inch and remove the backing of one of the ends of your strap pieces. Place that strap all the way to the bottom of that panel and up against your ruler. Okay, and then do the same for the other side. 1 1 3/8 in, and all the way to the end, making sure that that strap is not twisted. Okay, do that for the other one as well. Once we have the straps laid down with our double stick tape, making sure that nothing is twisted, take a small ruler and an erasable pen. This is the air erasing pen, and from the top of that panel, measure down 3/4 of an inch and mark a line on your straps. All right, now we're going to go to the sewing machine, and starting from the bottom, we're going to back stitch 1/8 of an inch away along the strap across our stitch line and back down and back stitch again on all 4 of the straps. All right, once we have them stitched down, make sure that the bottom centers are marked, and we are going to lay them right sides together, matching up our centers. And clipping down that edge. Also making sure that the sides are matched up nice. Once we have them clipped, we are going to stitch along that edge at 1/4 of an inch, making sure to back stitch at the beginning and the end. All right, once we have them sewn together, I'm going to take some 1/4 inch wide double stick tape and put it right on that seam right below those stitches on both sides of the seam. This is optional, you don't have to do it. I just want this seam butterflied open for when we construct. All right, I'm gonna pull the tape off and press it away. Right where those straps connect, it's gonna wanna not fold up. Just do your best. You could stitch down both of these sides, but since it's only that 1/4 inch, it's pretty small. So I find this works good. All right. All right. And there is our front panel of style number 3 all together. Now I'm going to just take my foam stabilizer and place it down. You could use fusible place, you could use nothing at all, and you would be totally fine. So I'm going to go ahead and fuse that, and then I will show you the different options for the sides. Okay, so for the sides we have a couple different options. You can leave them completely as is, nothing on them, and it will be totally fine. You would just take your side panel, put your interfacing on, and then take your lining piece, sandwich it on, and go ahead and baste them together, and then that's it. For me, I'm gonna be extra, and I am first going to, I'm gonna attach my interfacing, and I'm gonna use these little baby D-rings that you put on with rivets, like so. And there is a placement mark on the pattern piece, so I just added a little Duffle light. So I'm gonna go ahead and add my foam stabilizer piece to each of my side panels. And I should mention that on all the side panel pieces, you're gonna wanna mark the top and the bottom centers to make little notches. All right, once I have the foam or whatever interfacing you're using placed on that, take your pattern piece and lay it on top. And I'm gonna mark that rivet hole on both of them. Now I'm just going to take my hole punch and punch where that rivet hole is on both panels. And then I'm going to take the rivet, put it inside the baby D, feed it through that hole. Hopefully I got through the foam. There we go. And put the backing on. And now that'll be so cute. Okay. Do the same for the other one. Now I just need to set that rivet, and then these sides will be done for the exterior, but then I'm going to take them and I'm going to baste them together. I'll show you that. All right, I got my rivets and baby D's all set. Now I'm just going to take this. You can see it's overcut a little bit. And I'm just going to clip them together. And I'm just going to go ahead and baste around 1/8 of an inch for both of these pieces. And if you don't have the baby D and you're just having plain sides, this is where you're going to just baste it together, same as usual. And if you're new here or new to sewing and you're like, baste, what is this chick talking about? Basting is just 1/8 of an inch from the edge with a really long stitch length, just to hold our material in place. All right, now since I overcut mine, I'm just gonna go ahead and trim away that lining, just following my exterior. All right, so that is option 1/2. If you don't have the baby D-rings, or if you do have the baby D-rings. Now I'm going to show you the other option using a 1/2 inch D-ring. Okay, if you're wanting to do a D-ring on the side, like a proper D-ring, you're going to need your 2 exterior side panels, your 2 lining panels, mine are slightly overcut, and then 2 D-ring tabs. The pattern pieces are in the pattern if you want to do one out of vinyl, or if you want to do one out of cotton woven or the like. So you choose. I'm going to put everything to the side except for the D-ring tabs and our 2 1/2 inch D-rings. On the back of your D-ring tabs, mark a line that's midway, and then put some 1/8 inch wide double stick tape on each side of that center line, and then remove the tape, the backing, not the tape. I do that every time. And then fold the long edges into that center, right up to that center line. And for the other side as well. This is a skinny little D-ring tab. Okay, we're going to do that for the other one as well. All right, once we have them both folded, I'm going to take a little piece of 1/4 inch wide tape and just put it on one end of both of our D-ring tabs. This one's wanting to pop up. And we're going to take off the backing and fold it to about midway on both of them. All right. Okay, so I added another piece of tape on this end, sorry. And then add the D-ring on. Remove that tape. And fold it over the tab. So you will have some overlap. Okay, there is a marking on the pattern of where the fold line should be. I'm not being precise. So we're gonna do that on the other one. And take a little piece of tape, put it on the other end, and then grab my D-ring, slide it on. And fold it over, and just make sure that they're about the same size. Now on the back again, taking some tape, I'm gonna put it right in the center. Of both of them. And now working one at a time. There is a placement mark on the pattern piece for how far you need to put this down. I'm just going to measure, and then I'm going to center it as best as I can, like so. Trying to make sure everything is tucked in where it needs to be, like that. Now we're going to go to the sewing machine and we're going to stitch all around. Make a little box, right, getting up as close to the hardware as we can. You might want to switch out to a zipper foot. I'm not going to, but I am going to use like a little scrap piece. Use like a little scrap piece of vinyl just to cover my hardware so that I don't scratch it. So let's go over, and I'm gonna leave my tails long and pull them to the back. Alrighty. Alright, it's not perfect. You can see the ends kind of popping out there, but it's good enough for me. I'm going to repeat the same thing with the second panel, stitch around, and then we'll move on. Alright, still not perfect on either of them, but I'm going to take it. Now, if you want, you can add a rivet. There is a rivet placement in the pattern. I'm just going to eyeball it and make sure that it's through all of the layers of vinyl. And then punch a hole. Making sure that you're not punching a hole through any of your stitching. Take a rivet, place it on there. And then I can set those, and then we'll take our lining piece and put it wrong sides together. And just like we did before, baste around at 1/8 of an inch with a long stitch length, just to really hold that lining piece in place. And then we can move on to construction as normal for all of the styles of bags. It's smooth sailing kind of from here on out. All right, moving on to full construction. This is the same for all styles of bag, so just go ahead and follow along. You need one of your exterior panels, the lining to one of the panels, a cut of zipper tape. I always overcut mine, just personal preference, and a zipper pull. Go ahead, and I like to always find the center of my zipper tape. I do like to cut snips. I know that's a controversial topic, but I cut snips to find the center, and then anytime you cut snips or anything into a zipper tape, you always want to burn it. That way it will not fray. We're going to be working with the short edges of everything. So what I like to do is take some 1/8 inch wide double stick tape and move the handle out of the way. I'm going to put some double stick tape on all of these short edges of my panel and my lining as well. Also make sure that the centers on your lining panel on the short edges are marked. All right, I'm going to remove the tape on one of the exterior panels and then grab my zipper and right side down. I'll line up those center marks. I also don't like to add my pull until last. Just makes it easier if we're not having to move everything. Excuse me, if we're not having to move everything out of the way. So if you're not doing double stick tape, you would baste that edge at 1/8 of an inch and then take your lining panel and right sides together with the exterior. Match up the center marks again. And then secure it all the way down. So now we're going to take this to the sewing machine. And we're going to stitch 1/4 inch down that side. So go back to your construction stitch length. Back stitch at the beginning and the end, 1/4 of an inch. Apparently I forgot to hit record, but we stitched that at 1/4 inch. Now we're going to flip our lining panel up. If it's a material that you can press, go to the iron, press it. I'm just going to finger press it. And then pull our panels wrong sides together. I like to add a clip on the side to kind of hold it. Okay, and now we are going to top stitch 1/8 of an inch away at your preferred top stitch length. Mine is a 5 down that whole top edge. I did back stitch at the beginning and the end of my top stitching as well. Now we just need to repeat that. I'm going to take off the tape to lift my zipper like this. So still zipper tape right sides together with my exterior. My material is a little more stiff, so it's kind of resisting for me here. And match up that side. If you're not taping, go ahead and baste at 1/8 of an inch. And then remove the tape off of your lining, the other lining, the bottom piece, and bring it up. Match up our center marks, and then press her down. Okay, so what you have right now should kind of look like a heart. All right, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to stitch at 1/4 of an inch away, back stitch at the beginning and the end. All right, so this is what we got. Stitch down with the heart. Now you either have to flip this and top stitch, or what I do, close your eyes if this scares you. I'm going to separate my tape, so now I just have a tube. And then flip it inside out, or right side out. Okay. This just makes it a lot easier to top stitch because I'm not dealing with a loop I have to fight. I'm going to add some clips on the side. Make sure your handle's out of the way. And now I'm going to, same deal, top stitch that edge, back stitch at the beginning and the end at your preferred top stitch length. All right, now we got our zipper attached beautifully. Now we need to make these panels one. So I'm going to just clip down to hold the exterior and the lining together on both sides. Now I'm going to baste down. I'm going to baste down both of the long edges. If you are doing style 1, where you don't have your two main panels connected in the middle, you're going to find the center marks on those long edges. If you're doing style 2 or style 3, where they are connected at the bottom, you already have your center mark marked, so you're good to go. But now we need to bring these right sides together. If you separated your zipper like me, you need to put your zipper pull on now. So I'm going to line up the edges and the top of the zipper like so. That just gives me a little reference mark. And note too, if you're putting your pull on, if you have a front to your bag, you're going to want the zipper pull going to the left. Since I didn't put like a nameplate or anything on mine, it really doesn't matter. So I'm going to go to the end of my zipper, and instead of installing the zipper this way, I need to install it upside down because the exterior of my bag is inside. So I just do it like normal, push it on, and I'm going to want to fully pull it off again. Okay, so that's what I got. Now both sides of my zipper are closed. It's going to make it way easier for construction later. And then I just need to install this once again, upside down. Again, if you didn't separate your zipper like me, then this should be easy peasy. I'm going to put the zipper back on to about halfway. Okie doke. Okie doke. Cool beans. All right, this is what we have got. Now we just need to attach the sides. So I will say attaching the sides is probably the hardest part of the bag, especially when it comes to up here, because you have that zipper. But make sure that we have the centers marked on your sides. Take one of them and right sides together. I'm going to kind of tuck it in the bag, and I'm going to line up that top straight edge of the side with the edges of my top panels here, and making sure that the midpoint on that side is lined up with the middle of the zipper coils. I'm going to add some clips to keep it in place. And then going to the machine, moving everything out of the way, I'm just going to baste this right in place here over the zipper at about 1/8 of an inch away. I am going to backstitch at the beginning and the end. This is just going to hold it in place and also keep that zipper from sucking in on itself when we go to sew it together. All right. Okay, so I don't know if you can tell, but my stitching here did not go all the way to these corners because I want those free to still get around that curve. So it's just like a 3/4 inch stitch to kind of make that stay in place easier. All right, now take the bottom of your side panel, find the center, and then find the center of your main exterior panel and clip that in place. Now, I am going to get rid of the rest of my zipper tape. Again, anytime you cut zipper tape, light her up. And then I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to make, actually, let's do that before we clip. So all around, move your panel out of the way. And all around by the zipper, just make really small little snips. No more than like 1/8 of an inch. We just need this straight piece, which is our exterior. It's kind of acting like our gusset. So go all the way around that circle, just making snips. Now we can go back and find the midpoint at the bottom and clip. And just ease that, I want to say gusset, but it's actually our exterior. Ease it in to fit. It should fit pretty nicely. Just take the time to really fiddle. I would not use staples. I love using staples on curved bags, but this is so small and we're only going to be working with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So I would stay away from staples. I just do lots of clips. All right, that top curve is going to be the hardest to get in, but you can do it. Take your time. So once we got it all clipped, I am still going to be able to like adjust at the machine, and we have this side open so I can kind of stick my hand in there if I need. I typically like to sew like this with it on my machine. That way my clips can kind of spread out and I can really see what's going on. I'm going to try it the other way, which is people's kind of preferred method, having the gusset down on the machine like this all the way around. I am going to use my hemostats and a stiletto if need be, and just go real slow. I am only going to go at 1/8 of an inch away for this first time around, just to get it secured. Anyways, I did sew it like this and around. It never works out good for me. So I am going to trim up any places that slipped. It's always around the curves that it slips. And just trim it up. Make it nice and even, because now we're going to go in with our full seam allowance, and that's going to give it its shape. So this time I am going to go and sew it with the side panel on my machine, at 1/4 inch all the way around. Go nice and slow, backstitch at the beginning and the end. I don't know if you noticed when I was going around, when I got to that zipper part, I tried to make this as flat as I can. Again, so that that zipper doesn't, it's gonna wanna, like, you can see it right now, like trying to pucker in on itself. You wanna open it up and keep it as flat as you can when you're stitching around there. So now we just need to bind this. For binding, I'm gonna use some fold over elastic. And I'm just gonna start it on one of the straight sides. And you can see that there's a center line on that fold over elastic. I try to line that up with the edge, with the raw edge. And kinda tug on it a little bit so that it gets nice and tight. I'll move my clips over here. And just go around and clip that fold over. I'm going to get rid of any kind of longer threads so that they don't pop out. All right, and once I get to the other end, I clip it, or I cut it a little longer than where I started. And I also like to burn the end of my fold over elastic. It just helps to kind of seal it all in. And just pull it over, making it as even as I can with the other one on the bottoms. All right. Now we just need to go through, and I do like to do it again like this, so that way all my clips kind of spread out. And I'm gonna sew like just tiniest bit over 1/4 inch so that it catches those stitches that we did previously. All right, once we have that binding nice and attached, just make sure that you caught where you start and stopped on both sides. And then we need to repeat that for the other side. All right, so go ahead and with the other side, trim down if you have excess zipper tape and burn. And then take your other side panel, right sides together, stick it inside. Line up the midpoint with the midpoint on the zipper coils like we did before. Clip, clip, and then baste right at the top. And then once you've basted, go ahead and clip the bottom portion. Clip the bottom portion of that side panel to the bottom of the main. Clip all the way around. Baste at 1/8 inch, sew at 1/4 inch, and then add your binding just like the other side. Once we have both sides put together and bound, go up to the top, slide your zipper open if it hasn't already pushed itself open, and gently turn this out. All right, make sure that all of your curves are popped out nicely. And then we can zipper her up. It's so cute. Now you can take a little keychain ring and a swivel clasp and feed it through your straps. So now we have like this, and then you can add a little strap on the side, or I'm gonna try one of these little strap extenders from SiahSwag. Oh yeah, that's perfect. Look at that. Now it's got its own little bag bling. Super cute. You have successfully made the Dainty Duffle. It's so cute. How stinking cute, right? How did it go? How did the sides go? I know they take some practice, but if you tack down that top and use a stiletto and hemostats, you're gonna get it in no time. And I added some charms to these two from Thunderbird Handcrafted. They are on the site. Go check out the charmed line. And I added that little strap extender from SiahSwag. These are also on the site, I believe. If not, I know she's getting more in. All of my vinyl today, because I use vinyl on all these, is from Tulip Bee. So go check out Tulip Bee because Annette is fantastic. These are gonna be so good for markets. You're gonna get addicted. And now we have another bag to add to our tiny bag collection that we all love so much. I hope you had so much fun sewing with me today. And until the next one, I'll see you back at the machine.